Hello and welcome to a very special episode of No Load Time. My name is Obed Velez, and with me is the most interesting man in the world, Julian.
Oh my gosh, guys. Episode 50, but not 50 because it's a special episode, guys. So this one is going to be very different. It's going to be a whole lot of fun because E3 is here, buddy. And every day that goes by, we can't have another day go by without us talking about something that's being spoken about leaks, predictions, what have you. So this is a huge episode. You guys are not going to want to miss one part of it because this is where we get real sweaty talking about our thoughts about E3.
Yeah, this is going to be our predictions episode, guys. Very similar to what we did last year. Hopefully, a lot better than what we did last year. And I'm very excited, Joe. And we wanted to do this next week, but there's so much leaks and so much stuff being revealed and so much talk about it. So might as well we just should jump right into it, and then we'll talk about news and what have not next week. But tonight, Joe, it's gonna be awesome. We're gamers, and this is gamer Christmas, right?
This is gamer Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, exactly. This is gamer Super Bowl. This is when we have our teams and we pick and we make our brackets and who won and who lost E3.
Seriously.
Yeah. So, Joel, I don't know if you have any thoughts on any of the leaks that are out there, any of the supposed documents, or any of the things that supposedly got out there that may or may not be true. Do you have anything to talk about that, man?
Yeah. So I know earlier we were talking about this where we were comparing the two documents more or less of the stuff that came out today as we're recording this about Sony and their PlayStation press conference is a supposed leaked document that's been going around outlining each of the things that are going to be shown or trailers that are going to be shown for E3. And then there's another leak that I saw for Nintendo. I'm sure you've seen that one too. That kind of is a screenshot of different logos of games that's supposed to be coming for the Nintendo press conference with the Switch. And, if I had to talk about just those two specific documents that I've looked at or shots that we've seen, I would say that the more likely scenario is that the Nintendo stuff looks real.
Yeah.
That's something that I believe to be true. We'll get into some of those games as we talk about what's going on with Nintendo. But when you look at stuff like the PlayStation one, dude, that looks like something that I could have just literally typed up in Microsoft Word, just wrote Sony on it and pasted an E3 logo on there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's impossible because stranger things have happened, Obed. But if you were to ask me today, I would say there's literally a 5% chance that that's true. I strongly doubt that this is a real thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. I feel that the Nintendo stuff that supposedly got out, it looks realistic enough where you can believe that this is an actual leak from a presentation document. The PlayStation 1, I don't believe. Like, it's too good to be true. And there's a huge red flag on that one. Is that they're missing one of the big four games that Sean Layden talked about, that they're going to have an in-depth look at E3, and that was Ghost of Tsushima. It was missing from that document.
Right.
But the Nintendo stuff looks pretty legit. Some of that stuff I had on my notes because I saw the picture maybe about 45 minutes ago, not too long ago. And I also to throw just a little bit of a wrench on the Microsoft stuff before we start. Joel, I just read a news article that there was a huge reorg at Microsoft today.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you heard this morning. Microsoft had already trained 12 employees to be Xbox brand ambassadors, and all 12 got let go. And they're going to go with what they're calling like a community approach. So these people that they're going to be using as brand ambassadors are going to be technically volunteers. So they're not going to be paid employees. I do take a lot of issue with that because a paid employee, you can stick with a PR message versus having an Xbox fan, or in this case, even a hardcore fanboy, and that could be a problem, right? That could be there could be some misrepresentation, false information. It lends itself to a lot of negative stuff. There was a huge reorg on the Windows division. They apparently are going to go in together with apparently they're merging part of the Windows division with the hardware division. So the Surface and the Xbox guys. There's an engineer that worked on the Kinect and the Xbox. That it's a senior engineer. I forgot his name, but he's supposed to be in limbo. They don't know if that person still works at Microsoft or not. So there's stuff happening at Microsoft. Some of it negative, some of it may be positive. But the messaging on that article was that they are reinforcing their, corporate and cloud storage focus, and we'll see where that leaves Xbox. When we'll get to the conference, I'll go into detail on some of the thoughts that I have. Go ahead.
That's just very last minute though, dude. Like,
Yeah.
to have this happen. I mean, I'm not saying that like this is gonna have a drastic impact on E3 necessarily, because I'm sure they already have some stuff laid out. But I mean, like, the timing on this is not great. I didn't no clue that was going on today. So that's some pretty wild stuff, man.
Yeah, some pretty crazy stuff. But Joel, let's go ahead and start. And we're gonna start with the guys that are on Saturday, our buddies at EA.
Oh yeah.
So it's I think EA is pretty much straightforward. They're gonna show Anthem. They're gonna show Madden. And they're my prediction is that they will show some sort of Star Wars new game, not Battlefront, but something new.
Yeah, I've had the same thing on my notes when I was looking over. It was really just I literally wrote sports and Star Wars. That's literally what I said, because yes, Anthem, obviously I expect that too. If that's not there, it'd be ridiculous, but it'll be there, I'm sure. Yeah. But having some type of Star Wars reveal that's nothing to do with Battlefront, completely separate, some other property they've been working on for a while. I mean, they're going to have to keep cranking out Star Wars games, right? I'm sure whatever their contract to licensing is, that they're going to have to put something out there. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of sports. I mean, it's going to be your Maddens. It's going to be your FIFAs. FIFA, yeah. You maybe will get NBA Live. I
don't think that's coming back for another year.
I know. It's like, we'll see. I mean, I'm curious to see EA how they're going to try and spin it, just because of how much bad publicity they had going for them with Star Wars Battlefront and the microtransactions and all that. Any game that they put out there, it's going to be quickly looked upon as what is their financial model for it. And I really don't have that high of expectations. My hope is that if there is a new Star Wars game reveal, that it looks awesome, but I don't expect to be surprised. I think it will be very consistent with the typical EA that we know. So now, mind you, I say this now on the record. So Obed, I mean, we could talk about this in our later episodes, and stuff happens. We're like, oh my gosh, EA really blew it out of the park. But I mean, I don't know what they can really do at this point, aside from stuff that they've already had in the canon.
Yep. The other thing that I have that may or may not happen is, do you remember that game that they showed? I think it was E3 2015. That game called Unraveled.
Yes,
that was an indie game. I heard some rumors about that game having a sequel. That game was not. It was looked after because it was something different that EA was doing. It was something fresh. The developer, the games director, seemed to be a very honest and passionate guy. The game, I think, financially did okay, but critically wasn't great. So, do you think we may see something related to that game this year?
Yeah, I think an indie game like that just makes sense. I mean, there's going to be more than just the stuff that I even mentioned, you even mentioned. So a little something small like that should be expected. Obed, I'm also curious to know how they handle financially what they've been going through. There's been rumors about a lot of their financial stocks dropping and whatnot. So I mean, could this be a year that we see EA just give a last fight because someone else might come in and buy their studio? I don't know. Do we get surprised with something?
Excuse me.
Are you alive, Obed? Are you living? Oh no. Well, I mean, I just feel like, if they're having that much issues, if they're having that much of a, rumors of people dropping off from them just because of what happened with Battlefront, it was a huge, I mean, we're talking like international governments getting involved with this stuff. Like, it was not small. We talked about several times on the show.
Okay, I'm
So,
alive.
like, he's alive. He's back.
Oh, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm
I
back.
mean, do you think this is one of those like last, like, could this be a last hoorah from a standpoint of like, hey, we really need to make a profit and show something big, or are they going to play it safe?
Um, Either or. I think EA has enough money in the bank to keep themselves afloat for a couple of years, even if they don't have a huge hit. I think they are going to play it safe in, not investing into NBA again. 2K is too big of a thing. They at this point they'll be trying to play catch up, and I don't think they'll be able to get even close to what 2K is doing. And I think they're not taking as many risks as they once were. I would like to see them invest into more into smaller game experiences like Unravel. I don't know, bring back, of course we're gonna get some Battlefield, right? And that's gonna be a thing, and that's gonna be huge. But I think that they should take more risks in investing on smaller stuff and more creative stuff. I would say that EA should go back to its roots. When Trip Hawkins started EA, he brought a lot of like smaller studios that, people that had new ideas and fresh ideas, and that's why it's called Electronic Arts. It was it was making, games in an art form kind of thing. That was the original philosophy. Unfortunately, because of how gaming changed in the last 10 years or so, 12 years since the 360 and PS3 came out, it changed so drastically that EA definitely moved into a whole new direction. So I would love to see them go in that direction. I don't know if they're ready to make that change yet. There's still a lot of, from what I can gather, there's a lot of internal struggles on ideas. So we'll see where that goes, man.
Gotcha. Play it safe. I mean, we'll see, man.
Yeah. Joel, next up, do you want to talk about your boys at Ubi? I know that I called you this afternoon with something that I saw, and I could feel the shock.
Yeah, genuinely, like, I'm like, you called me and I'm driving and I'm just thinking to myself, like, what is going on? And it's there's a part of me that's excited just because I love the franchise, but even I have to realize, and I have to be level-headed in the sense of like, this could be a doozy. I don't know. Ubisoft has this leak of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I all we know is that this game's supposed to be an ancient Greece game. There's a little teaser that they actually put out on social media of a dude going 300 style and kicking a guy off of a mount, a hill or whatever. And I did not see this coming. I had no expectation of this. When we were talking about Ubisoft, I was like, oh, we're gonna obviously get another Division, and we're gonna have
Watch Dogs 3 or something like that, right?
Right, Splinter Cell. I was thinking of something like that. I was not thinking of, and even if there was an Assassin's Creed thing, it was like, oh, something, I don't know, like one of those, like how they did with Assassin's Creed Chronicles, like something like small like that, right? One of those like DLC kind of like games, right? Nothing crazy, but because Obed, we've talked about Assassin's Creed, how these guys they had something great to begin with, but what's hurt the franchise is the crank it out mentality, where they just want to keep putting out all these new games because of success that they had in the past. And as much as I love the franchise, I obviously have to admit that the games are better, or were better, when they had more time to actually work on them, not just putting something out for the sake of putting something out there. Even when the ideas have always been interesting. I don't think there's been one game that they've had a bad historical timeline idea, and that's just my opinion. It's obviously the obvious execution of it. It's just sometimes it feels like you're playing the same game. There's nothing new to it, or sometimes it just feels like there's a regression from a control standpoint, and it's just not hit with many people. So, if you're a fan of the franchise, you're gonna still get it. Like if you're me, but you're someone that's right now going, okay, this you guys should have learned your lesson. You put out Assassin's Creed Origins. You gave us a good amount of years off between that and the last game, Syndicate. So why are you out here now again going back to the same thing where now you're just, okay, we're just cranking out another one another year? I'm concerned.
Okay, yeah, I could definitely agree with your concern, man. Especially if you love Assassin's Creed, because I know that you're a big fan. But the thing is that maybe this game, because you know that Ubisoft has a very robust roadmap for this franchise.
Absolutely.
My thinking is maybe this game, and they always have games. They're always working on an Assassin's Creed game.
Always.
So maybe this game was the following was on schedule to follow Origins, and Origins, having the franchise haven't taken a year off, and maybe this game benefited from that time as well. Who knows that
I can only hope, man.
Yeah. So I think that Ancient Greece is I think it's great. If they do like a Spartan assassin, that would be pretty neat.
Yeah. As I told you, I saw that little gameplay the little clip that they showed of the guy kicking a soldier off the mountain. I'm like, this is Sparta. Start feeling 300 going on.
Yeah. So that would be pretty cool. The other big thing that I have on my notes here, Joe, is that they're teasing. They teased a Splinter Cell with the latest Ghost Recon game. Do you think we'll be getting another Splinter Cell game? Will this be straight up multi-platform, or will they go exclusive with Xbox? How they like when the franchise was exclusive to Xbox back with the original Xbox.
I would hope they wouldn't be exclusive. I could see why they would do it if maybe Microsoft put money into it to make it an exclusive. That they're like, hey, this is a way of bringing people into, we have exclusive. We'll get into that, but I definitely hope. I definitely hope that it's a multi-platform game. I know I don't say I know, but I have a very strong sense that this is something that's absolutely coming. This actually was one of the ones I think that was on that document for PlayStation Leaks, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I think it was on there. So it's like, that's not that has any basis of truth to it, but I'm just saying, like, it'd be awesome if it was a multi-platform, or maybe it's something that PlayStation even showcases during their thing. I don't know, but definitely, I think Splinter Cell is one of those ones that Tom Clancy games, they always do good. This is a good one. This one and probably the Division.
Yeah, I think we'll see a Division 2. I find that more likely than Splinter Cell. But at the same time, I think it's overdue for Splinter Cell to come back. It's a popular franchise. And the big thing with Splinter Cell is I can't remember if this game was on that Walmart leak that we talked about a couple weeks ago, but they should bring it back. Splinter Cell is the last big stealth franchise. We all know Metal Gear, quote unquote, died. We'll talk about that later, but I think they should definitely do it. I think it's plausible. It should be multi-platform because they're not gonna, risk not having this on 75 million other consoles. So
I know, and with the issues going on with Xbox One and Xbox One X and all this different stuff, like I don't see why they would limit it to one console, dude. Splinter Cell.
Absolutely. Jill, do you think we'll see another Rayman game? It's been a while since Legends.
I was gonna say it's been a while, so why not? I mean, why not have another Rayman game? Those games did well in the past, so I mean,
Yeah.
like, I think people, as long as it looks good, I think people would be happy to see Rayman come back. I know a few people that are really big Rayman fans, so they'd be happy to see it come back. And I'm not a crazy like fan service kind of person, but you gotta give the fans something that they wouldn't always be looking for, and give them a little flavor. So that'd be a smart move, I think, for Ubisoft.
Yeah. Good thing with Rayman is that those games are cheap to make. They sell well and they look good. So
Yeah.
if if they take enough time off, I think the Rayman Legends came out. That used to be originally was a Wii U launch title, and then it came out for everything like a year after the Wii U, and it came out for PS4 and whatnot. So I think it's about time. It's been a few years. So
It's been a while.
yeah, it's been about 5 years. I think they should be able to pull out one of those games again. Yeah, for sure. Definitely not sell it for $60 because you're gonna compare this with like God of War or anything that's out there. It's like, why would I spend $60 on this? So I think that smaller games like this, that $40 price range that a lot of the smaller games are going forward are going towards, that'd be a good price point for it.
Yep. There's another game I know we'll talk about a little later on, but I think it's a similar idea as well, or it's a smaller, it's a classic character, but smaller scale, cheap money. Nice.
Okay. Anything else for Ubi, Joel, or can we move? Or
we can move, man. I mean, I got a lot to think about Assassin's Creed, guys, so I'm sure this will come up in another episode as we get more information. I'm just as shocked as many of you guys are.
Yeah, that was a big surprise. So I'm cautiously optimistic about that one. So,
I like that attitude, Obed. I like it.
Hey, you know what? I'm a glass half full guy, but gotta be careful with that water.
For real, you almost died on the show, man.
Oh my goodness, I don't know what happened, man. I was too excited about getting too excited for Assassin's Creed over there for a second.
So much Assassin's Creed, Star Wars Battlefront, that water, just drinking it.
Just talking about EA almost killed me, dude. So Joel, next on my list, I have Square-Enix. We know that the new Tomb Raider is going to be there, Shadow of the Tomb Raider. But I think, Joel, that this is the year that we will see that Avengers game that they have been working on for about 3 years, and we have not seen absolutely anything about except for a teaser trailer. And this game has been in development by the guys at Crystal Dynamics, the guys behind the Tomb Raider games. The first two, the third one is done by Eidos Montreal, not Eidos Montreal, but yeah, Eidos Montreal is the right team. So do you think, Joe, we will see an Avengers game at E3?
Yes. This is time, man. Like, this is, if they don't show something here, I'm actually gonna be concerned about what's going on with this game.
Yeah,
it'll be too long. So yeah, I think we'll get a good trailer reveal, and like maybe a little bit of a story. What characters outside of the main characters are going to be playable, like the villains. I'm saying, like, in the sense of the storyline, and hopefully some kind of concrete date for this too, maybe, or a year at least, of for what's going on with it. But yeah, this is totally the year of Avengers, man. I mean, you just had Infinity War come out. It's a great opportunity to capitalize on, say, hey, look, we got our Avengers game we've been working on for a while, and here it comes.
It'd be fantastic if they just release it at the end of this year, because they've been working on it for about 3 years now.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I mean, it'd be fantastic. Yeah, I mean, the time is right. That at least they need to announce it, and they need to make sure that this game comes out before the next Avengers movie, or date and date, right?
Yeah,
they need to nail this date.
Yeah, they literally have a year to put it out if they're announcing this.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's like a year window, so anytime within the next year, starting at E3. So hopefully we'll see that. The other thing that I have for Square Enix is that I'm not sure if they are possibly going to announce this at the PlayStation conference, but I have it under the Square Enix conference. Is that because Square Enix, they are having their event earlier on on Monday before the PlayStation conference. But I think the big thing here is that we're gonna get a release date for Kingdom Hearts 3.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Kingdom Hearts 3 was the same thing that was actually on my list.
Yeah, I think this game's done, and they just need to nail the release date for it. My prediction is going to be September, so it's going to be before the Red Dead massacre, because Red Dead's going to come out, man. And after that, like Battlefield and Call of Duty, they're going to have a run for their money, man.
It's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah. But that's the only thing that I have on Square-Enix are those two big games, and the other thing that I have on my list for them is Final Fantasy 15 DLC, because they've already announced that there's going to be a full-blown season 2 of DLC. So there's going to be 2 new story expansions and whatever else DLC they put out. So I believe that we'll see some of that footage during that conference or during the PlayStation conference.
Yeah. Quick question back to Kingdom Hearts. Do you think that that's something that's going to be playable on Switch?
No, that's nope. Kingdom Hearts going to be PS4 and Xbox.
Okay,
they already announced it that that's the
platforms of choice.
The platforms, yeah. Yeah, I really don't know how they got into having an Xbox version, because Kingdom Hearts has always been, associated with PS2. Of course, we've seen some DS and PSP games, but it mostly, widely associated with PlayStation. If it's on more platforms, that's perfect, because more people can get to experience it. It's just like Final Fantasy 15. If you get to experience, it's one of my favorite games ever. So if you get to experience that game on any platform, it doesn't matter what it is. That's great. But unfortunately, I don't see this sort of game coming out for the Switch. So
gotcha.
But that's what I got. That's what I got for Square, Joel. I don't know if you have anything else.
No, I'm good, bro. Kingdom Hearts is my last one on the list.
Cool. All right. All right, man. So do you want to talk Bethesda, or do you want to jump into the big three? Let's talk about that Fallout thing that came out.
Right? Let's do a little bit of Bethesda.
Right. So they announced Fallout 76, which a lot of people started freaking out. Jason Schreier from Kotaku said, "You guys better not be too excited about this, because this is not what you think." And then people were like, "Oh no, it's going to be another Fallout game. It's going to be awesome." And then they did clarify that this is an online survival game, kind of like Rust and I think H1C1, or one of those zombie survival games that are out on PC. So this is going to be something similar to that. So this is technically an MMO. It doesn't do anything for me. So.
They're classic, dude. Like, these games are saying, it's supposed to take place 20 years after the nuclear war, so they've always talked about Vault 76 in these games, and now this is basically why it's been called Fallout 76. I think it's like, if you're an existing Fallout fan, you're probably happy because it's more Fallout, but I don't until I see something really awesome about it. Like you said, it doesn't do anything crazy for me.
Yeah, I don't know. It is what it is with Fallout. I know that there's rabid Fallout fans out there. Yes. I'm not necessarily one of them. It's not my cup of tea. But if you are into survival games and you like Fallout, this may be a huge deal for you. Other than that, Joel, I know that last year we nailed 2 of their games. We got Evil Within 2, and we got Wolfenstein. So we nailed those 2 on our predictions episode last year. But I don't know. This year they're kind of quiet. I really haven't heard a lot. Do you think we'll see an Elder Scrolls game, a follow-up to Skyrim. It's been long enough, right?
I actually don't think so. Believe it
You
or
don't think
not,
so?
I actually
Okay.
don't think they're gonna even touch it. I actually am more of in the vein of them actually doing a Doom 2 is actually what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I think it's a little tease for Doom 2 just because it's been a couple years now, the last one being out, distance themselves from it and put out another Doom game. I could easily see that being like something that they had in the canon. But I mean, Elder Scroll could be something, yeah, that they could do. But actually, I feel more confident about another Doom game being teased
Okay.
than Elder Scroll.
Yeah, and they already announced Rage 2 because that got leaked on the Walmart.
Yes.
On that Walmart leak, and then they jumped on it. It's like, yeah, let's go ahead and announce it. So they announced it. So I'm sure we'll see a lot more of that game at E3. But other than that, I mean, it seems like it's kind of quiet. I know that there's been rumors that they're working on a brand new franchise called Starfield. There's gonna be, it's basically Skyrim in space. That's been rumored for a couple of years. Maybe that could be the only other huge thing that they announce, in my opinion. And that could be either at that conference or at the Microsoft conference. Um, either or. But that could be, that's my other prediction for Bethesda, is that Starfield is a thing. It's real. It's a real game, and they are planning on putting this thing out. So
Sweet, man.
yeah. Cool. Jill, do you want to start with the big three?
This is the long part of the show
This is a
now.
long part of
We're
the show now.
the big ones.
Yeah, we this is the warm up. We're warming up. Joel, let's start with Nintendo, because I think that they proved themselves last year that they are a competitor, and they have a very compelling piece of hardware out there, and people like it, and they are putting quality stuff on that device. So, Joe, what are your predictions for Nintendo?
Whew, man. I think Nintendo's gonna give us a lot more stuff that they're gonna highlight in the sense of like existing franchises. So you'll have some stuff like obviously like the big stuff's gonna be like there's probably gonna be something new with like Mario outside of Smash Brothers. There's probably gonna be something that's big with Pokemon, which we've talked about that before, and we'll get into that a little bit. But I think the main surprise will be, you know, like when they do Smash Bros. I think there's going to be like some new characters that you're not going to be expecting, like at least 3 or 4 new characters that will be playable. And people are like, oh my gosh, I can be that guy in this game. I think Fortnite, obviously from that leaked image, I think that's for sure going to come over. Fortnite's been a big one that people are crazy about these days. So everyone's going to want a piece of Fortnite, and Switch is smart to get in there. Dude, I mean, I think Nintendo is one of the ones that like they're always gonna show us new stuff that we didn't expect, these little indie games, and we're just gonna have our socks blown off because that's just what they do. They just surprise us with these little things, and you're like, this thing, you know, with the translations, you know, these guys in Japan, and you're watching, you're like, I didn't even know this thing was coming. This is so cool. My Switch can do this now, and random, and that's just what Nintendo does. So I mean, it's just gonna make me. I'm gonna end up watching this presentation and end up being like, why do I still not have a Switch, Obed? And we're gonna talk about that.
We're gonna ask ourselves that question, right?
That's just gonna happen.
Yep. I do have a few things. The big thing, again, going back to Pokemon, we saw a couple of days ago, Pokemon Let's Go, Pikachu and Eevee got announced. That game's gonna be huge for the Switch. They did confirm, and this was confirmed last year, that Game Freak was working on a full blown 3D open world, you know, RPG Pokemon for the Switch. But this is not it. This is a smaller experience that's more of my understanding is that it's more of a remake of the of Pokemon Yellow. So what I've heard is that summer 2019 or sometime in 2019. That's when we're gonna get that other Pokemon game. So this is just an appetizer, sort of. And the big games that I have, Joel, on my list, we're gonna see some Metroid Prime 4 gameplay. That was announced last year. We have not seen anything of this game, but I'm sure that a lot of people are curious. A lot of people are excited. We're probably going to see some gameplay for this game. I do think that they're going to bring an old franchise back, and based on how popular ARMS was, I think they're going to bring back Punch Out, and they're going to do like a motion controlled Punch Out for Switch, similar to ARMS, and I think that's going to be like their big bring back an old franchise for Nintendo. Like you mentioned, Smash Bros is going to get new characters, is going to get the full reveal, and we're going to see exactly what that game's going to be. There's people out there are still saying that it's a sequel. They already showed the 4 on the trailer. Guys, attention to detail. Come on. Even game journalists show they still says like, no, guys, come on. Attention to detail. There's probably going to be a 2D Mario, kind of like the new Super Mario Brothers games. There has to be something Mario this year, other than Smash Brothers. There's rumors of Mario Tennis coming back. Maybe that would be a good.
That was on that document too that leaked out, the Mario Tennis, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, I could see that being one of them.
Okay. Yep. That definitely makes sense. And like what you said, we're probably going to get a bunch of third-party support. We're going to get a bunch of third-party announcements for the Switch. The biggest one definitely being Fortnite coming to the Switch. And I do have a prediction, Joel, and I think this was on that leak document, but I think that my game of the show for E3 last year is going to be in the Switch. That was Dragon Ball FighterZ. And I think we're gonna get a Switch version of that.
Wow, that's big, man.
Yep, I think that's gonna be a thing. I'm still not gonna buy a Switch for that game because I got the DLC, I got the season pass on PS4. There's 2 characters that dropped today. So Fuse Zamasu and Vegito come out today. So I'm definitely gonna check them out over the weekend. But I think that game's coming to the Switch.
Wow.
I think ArcSys is looking at the platform. There's a lot of hype behind the Blaze Blue cross track battle, so I think it's going to happen. Other than that, Joel, do you think we'll see any hardware revisions of the Switch? Not yet. Maybe a new SKU like they did in Japan. That's just a Switch without the docking station.
Yeah, I could see some new bundles, maybe changing around how they do it. Like you said, the Switch without the docking station. I could see them showing off their new platform, like how there's what's the name? Nintendo was like Nintendo Access or something. The one that's
the
like,
online system.
Yeah, I can see them trying to sell us on that even more. Like maybe show us something that we didn't hear about it before, or something that we didn't maybe anticipate the way it works with multiplayers or something. That would be really cool. It'd be cool, I know before where, you had some stuff where you brought in some AR elements. Maybe they'll do that too with the Switch, something that brings that connection, especially for kids. And the way they showcase that other technology, the box technology, what's the name of that thing? The
Labo?
The Labo, there you go.
Yeah.
So I think there could be also some more games that shows like how Labo will work with it. Like they could bring a game they already have out and then say, oh, and if you have Labo, you can, I could easily see something like that too being in there. I mean, I want to say that's to say hardware as much as that's, like an accessory, but yeah, I could see that happening. Maybe a Switch with more memory. I don't know, but there's not really too much I expect from a hardware standpoint.
Okay. All right. That's fair. I mean, it's only, a year and a couple of months old. So I don't expect them to do a full revision of the hardware just yet. It's probably going to be another year or two. No, maybe another year, and we'll see something. Kind of like what they usually do that. The DS did that Uh, the GBA did that as well. So we'll probably for next year we'll see a hardware revision, but for this year. I'm confident that there's not going to be a hardware revision, but yes, bundles like you mentioned, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Nintendo's smart. They don't just run out and do stuff reactionary.
Yeah, exactly. Joe, let's jump into Microsoft. And let's put our concerned faces on. Because last year I said that it was make or break. And at this point, it's they're not gonna catch up. So what does Microsoft do to one stay competitive? And I know that they're doing a lot of stuff feature wise, right? There's no question that the Xbox One right now, as it stands right now, is the most feature rich platform out there. But unfortunately, I can get features on my TV. I can get features on my Blu-ray player. I can get features on my PS4. I can get features anywhere, right? On my phone. I don't care. So, where do they go from here? And I only have 3 things on my predictions list because they are so hard to read.
And I bet you it's the same thing that we probably have in ours and a couple of them.
Yeah. Halo. I have a new Halo. Do you have any new Halo?
Halo 6.
I mean, they have to. At this point, they have to. Halo 5 was not super well received. People are still not happy with the Master Chief Collection. It's one, it's unfortunate that it's not a new IP. And 2, it's unfortunate that it's more Halo. It's like I think at this point, this is that you can only stretch this story so long. And I know that 343 has been struggling with getting a cohesive story going. I know that multiplayer has been okay, but campaign-wise, the last couple of games have not set the world on fire like the first 2 games did. There was not that big Halo revolution that we had at a certain point. But I'm positive that they are working on another Halo, and that we'll see something. Definitely not coming out this year, but we'll see something.
Yeah, I think that's my whole thing about, we talked last year about Microsoft having a make or break year, and obviously we saw what they did with the Xbox One X and how they handled everything, and I stand by my belief that they were the biggest losers of E3 this last year, and and the reason I say that is not because of what they put out there, but because of what they didn't put out there, and that it did break them. So now they're just trying to survive at this point, and for them to get out of survival and get back into the competition, I just think that they have to take. You look at a game like Halo, and it's like, okay, this is great, but if you could take games like this that are exclusives but are not stuff that's already existed before and gave us something that was new, or a couple of things. In this situation, I think they need a few that are in the same vein, a AAA, a really strong title, but it's new. I think that's what's going to get them back into the game of competition, that they could stand behind these titles.
Yeah, best example I can give you is God of War, right? It reinvented itself. It's a sequel, but it's a new game. It's hard to call it it's hard not to call it a new IP at this point.
It's like a soft reboot. It's a hard reboot. I don't know, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, I mean it's technically it's a
continuation, but
because it's a sequel from the story, but the gameplay elements and just how the story is done and all that is completely different from how it was before. That I think that's what they need. I think that Halo needs a sort of a soft reboot, and a reimagining, if you ask me at this point.
Right. No, I 100% agree, and I think that's what Halo needs. I think that's what Microsoft in general needs to do, is to breathe more life into what they have. And I think people would come back to them easily if they saw something that caught their eye. That's like it's a mixture of something that they've been interested with before, but it has new life in it. So I think they could have a return. I don't, but honestly, Obed, my list. I mean, I've got Crackdown 3 question mark because we talked about this game just not that long ago. Obed, what's going on with this game? Because you said it's probably canceled or what this and what's going on here, man?
Yeah, so a few weeks ago I said that game's probably going to get canceled. And then a couple of days ago, was it yesterday morning or the day before?
Yeah, 2 days ago, I think.
There was a Amazon Spain canceled all pre-orders for the game. Microsoft did not come out and say, "Hey, the game's delayed. Hey, the game's canceled." But they did say, "No, it was an error on Amazon's side. Get with Amazon to see what's going on." Like they didn't explain what's happening. There's a strong rumor is that this game got delayed into 2019. This game has already been, this game was announced in 2014, which you at least needed, 6 months to a year prep for the announcement. So this game has technically been in development since probably 2012. So 6 years.
That's a long time, man.
We've already had God of War. And
exactly, yeah.
And this game, Crackdown has never been a flagship franchise for Xbox. The first one was a good game. The second one I heard was mediocre. So this is not Crackdown is not the Xbox savior. They need something else, something new, something fresh, and this is not it. I said it before when the game got delayed. I was like, "Oh yeah, it got delayed." Didn't surprise me. A few weeks ago on the podcast, I said I think the game's going to get canceled, and then a couple of days ago we get all this debacle that happened with Amazon. At this point, it's still TBD. That game is still vaporware. It doesn't exist. So,
I mean, they did come out and say that it's not canceled, like Microsoft. I think today or something. They said it's not canceled.
Yesterday they said that it wasn't canceled. So
yeah, they're saying it's not canceled. I mean, they had to do some kind of damage control, but Obed, if there's no clarification at this E3, if there's nothing out there that's going to say this is solidly this game's coming out, or it's just, or if it is delayed, hey, sorry guys, we're delaying it, but this is some cool stuff to show you. Like, it's been 6 years, we haven't seen anything. I don't know how anyone is expecting this game to really come out right now. I just don't see it.
Yeah, if I don't see a date at this E3, this game's not coming out.
Yeah,
that's it. Like, and if it comes out, then I mean, I'll eat crow. I'm a big boy. I can take it. But it's if I don't see a date, this game does not exist. And we'll talk about that in a couple of minutes. But Joel, a Fable reboot. Do you think it's possible we'll see something like that?
Yeah, that's another one that for sure. A Fable reboot would actually be a good choice right now for them. It's a game that I think people would like to see, and they know what it is. Kind of reminds me of like how we always get our Forza games. So
yeah, we're gonna get one of those again. Yeah, this year. Yeah,
for sure.
Do you think we'll get a return from an old IP? More specifically, do you think we will see Perfect Dark back?
I actually didn't think about that one coming back. That'd be another good move. Like, keep giving us stuff like that we are familiar with and bring it back. Yeah, I mean, what do you think, Obed? Like, I didn't think of that at all.
I think it's possible. I don't know. I don't think Rare right now it's up to the challenge based on Sea of Thieves. I think that they can handpick a studio to run with it, and have Rare be supervising directors or whatever. But I don't think Rare's up to task on this one. They should look for a third party to run with it, like kind of like what Bethesda's doing with Rage. They're outsourcing it to Avalanche Studios, and if Microsoft gets a studio that can run with the project, that would be a good thing for Xbox to have back. I mean, Xbox has always been the shooter console, right? So they should definitely use their strength and bring back, these guys for Perfect Dark. So that being said, um, Joe, the only other game that I have here is Gears of War. So something Gears of War related, whether it be a new Gears of War game or a spinoff, which has been rumored for a few weeks now. That's the only other game that I have here, man. I have, of course, we're gonna get third party stuff. The Assassin's Creed is probably gonna be at the Xbox conference. Anthem's probably gonna be here again. So we'll probably see that third party marketing deals going on with Microsoft. Of course, this games sell decently on the platform, so they're definitely wanting to keep those relations going. But Joe, the one I have here, and it's my last prediction, and this may infuriate a lot of people, especially if you had made a $500 investment in the last 8 months. I think Microsoft's going to announce next gen. They really need to get away from the word one. Again, I don't know why the Xbox One X was called Xbox One X. My prediction it was called Xbox Elite. No, take that one away, because that one is hurting your platform. So
you think that if you're predicting this, are you saying that this is going to be something that comes out by the end of this year, or are you saying this is something for next year?
Something teased for next year.
Okay, because I'm like, that'd be ridiculous. But yeah, tease for next year, sure, because that's when I expect next year to hear a tease from PlayStation.
And I know fans are going to go.
Not this year, but for next.
Yeah, exactly. But I know fans are just going to go bananas for this thing. And I don't, like, hardcore fans are going to go for it. I don't see the average gamer.
Yeah, the casual will be upset.
Yeah, having spent $500 on the Xbox One X just a few months ago, and then have them again. They are not great at marketing, Joel. They're not great. Even with their business products, it's a struggle. And I think that they really need to get away from this generation if the Xbox division wants to continue on as a feasible platform for Microsoft. They need to get away from the Xbox One as soon as possible. They missed the opportunity last year, man, because they should have called it something else. And they still should have come out and said, hey, guess what? It's compatible with the old games. It's all this stuff, right? But call it something else. And that to me was the biggest mistake that they've done this generation, is that they had the opportunity for a fresh start with a half step console, and they missed it. And I guarantee, Joel, that if they had moved away from the one, the X would have sold really well during the holidays, which it sort of did, but it could have done even better, because it was a sort of a new beginning, I know that Xbox fans are not going to be happy with, another announcement, but Microsoft's been doing it. They're putting out. Joel, do you know anyone that owns or has considered purchasing the Surface Desktop, or whatever they call it, the station, or whatever they call it?
I have no one that I know that owns it.
Okay.
No one that I know that is even said that they were interested in getting it, honestly.
Okay. I remember going to a preview event for at the Microsoft Store before the device was launched. They had a prototype device that I got to play around with. Very impressive, I gotta hand it to Microsoft. Since the Surface Pro 3, I think their hardware has been really good, and those Surface Books are really nice. this Surface Station is fantastic, or whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of it. But they are spending millions of dollars on R&D on devices that are probably sitting at a Microsoft store, man. It's hard, and I get some of the frustration that the Xbox fans are feeling, and I guess I get some of the frustration that they're feeling with Phil. And I got involved in a Twitter thing with an Xbox fanboy.
I know you showed me. I was like, so ridiculous.
Which I didn't reply, because it's like, you know what? These guys are always angry, always arguing, and it's like, you know what? I'm just gonna, take my comment and I'll just go. I'm not gonna go and go on a Twitter rage rant or whatever. So. I understand. I understand the frustration. Trust me, 2008, when I had my PS3, was really frustrating. Word to the point that my PS3 broke, my launch PS3, and I ended up hooking up my PS2 again and played PS2 for another year. Seriously. And I was like, I'll just play PS2 for another year, and play PS2 for another year back in 2009 and 2008. And then, when the Slim came out, I went ahead and bought the Slim. So because I was frustrated too. There was no games. That console was a power hog. The games didn't run great. But I totally understand where they're coming from, because we as PlayStation users went through it, especially if you bought a PS3 at launch. But if they manage to turn it around, they're not going to turn this around, right? My belief, Joel, and this is my prediction, that what they have first party that they've been working on for the last 4 years is going to come out on the Xbox One next year, this year, whenever. But these guys are probably working on next gen stuff since probably last year, because they need to get away from the platform. That quadruple A studio that they announced is probably not going to be Xbox One. That's probably going to be next gen, because there's no way, dude, that you can create a quadruple A new IP in 2 years and put it out before PS5 comes out. So that, if they start working on the game, say today, May 31st, that game is 2018. That game's gonna come out in 2023, summer 2023. So by then, the PS5, based on rumors, is gonna be 2 years old. So, I mean, it's frustrating. And it's also frustrating that it seemed that Microsoft is like, they have no direction. Like, you ask Phil Spencer on an interview, and I was like, oh yeah, backwards compatibility is great and fans are happy. Well, not really. I mean, what else do you have? And that they've been concentrating on Windows. They've been doing all this stuff. Like I said this year, like I said on our predictions episode last year, it was make or break last year. They didn't bring it. It's over. They should move on as soon as they can to the next gen and get away from the one, because that they missed the opportunity with that. But they should go ahead, rethink their marketing strategy next time, and move forward with a new device at this point. Yeah. So that's my rant on our what I used to call it, Joe, our section.
Xbox, what are you doing?
Microsoft, what are you doing? But man, it's frustrating, and I'm not an Xbox guy, and it frustrates me. So, but Joe, let's go ahead and talk about PlayStation, because they are the guys that are putting out the jam out there, right? They're the guys that are bringing it, putting out new IPs, bringing back reimagined IPs, bringing new stuff. Joe, what are your predictions for PlayStation?
You know, it's nothing. I don't have anything of new necessarily, except for one thing, but I'll say that for a second. But I know Death Stranding is going to be the big one that I'm looking forward to the most, just because I'm curious to see now that we'll probably have a real gameplay like behind it. You know, we've seen a lot of these little different CGI trailers, but I would love to see actual gameplay shown for it. And I think that's what I expect the most to come forward from this, as well as another story trailer, you know, to kind of give us more insight and context to what's really going on, aside from the speculation that's been given, because there's a lot of really great symbolism in all those last few trailers. But I'd love to see it kind of be more aha moment, a bigger reveal, even more, so it just gets us more chomping at the bits for this game. And I know you'll talk a little bit about Metal Gear, so that's something that for sure we could see some stuff happen there. Days Gone will probably be shown some more stuff there. Spider-Man gameplay, since that game's coming out.
Yeah.
Another more stuff to get us excited there. And then my big tease, the big reveal that I'm hoping for. I have nothing but a gut instinct based on rumors that had happened in the past, from one of even our past shows. Is it something that I want to see happen? I want to see them announce it or tease them getting back into the handheld market. I want to see them say that this is, guess what, the Switch has been doing so well. This is going to be something that can compete in some ways with it, just because a lot of people use the Switch as a more portable console than they do as an actual, home TV console. And with whatever they do with this portable console, similarly to the way the Vita was supposed to be something that was kind of like an extension of your PS3 or with your remote play and whatnot, I would like to see them do something similarly with this, where it's like it stands on its own, if they get back into this market, but that's something that when they do announce PlayStation 5, this is something that will also be complementary to it. So yeah, that's just me kind of rapid firing through of what my quick rundown thoughts are. Obed, what's your thoughts here?
That was one of my predictions for last year, that they were gonna have a hybrid handheld like the Switch. So maybe, who knows? John Codera was in charge of mobile devices back in the 90s. Maybe. At this point, I am not too certain about it, but we'll see. That's TBD definitely on that one. But Joel, I do have some things. Of course, we got the big four that they've already announced that are going to be there. Like you said, Death Stranding, Last of Us 2, Spider-Man, and Ghost of Tsushima. I'm really excited for Ghost of Tsushima and Death Stranding, and for all four, Joel. These are four.
I know they're all solid.
They are four exclusive games to PlayStation that have been. And I think about Xbox, and I get so angry because they are not. They're like, they're not doing They're not doing anything. So, yeah, I'm really, really excited for this 4 games. I know that you're really, really excited for Spider-Man because Spidey's your dude, your main dude.
You know it.
So you're pretty pumped for that. But I mean, I'm looking forward to actually seeing Death Stranding gameplay. I'm a huge Hideo Kojima fan. Metal Gear is my favorite franchise of all time. I can't wait to see what's next. I know that there's a theory out there on YouTube that Death Stranding is actually a Metal Gear game. There's some evidence to it. I don't know. But if that's it, Joel, I'll cry on stream.
You guys might tune in, guys, to that special live episode, because you might see Obed cry.
Yeah, you'll see a grown man cry. But you know what would make me cry, Joel? There's Blue Point, who made the Shadow of the Colossus remake for PS4. Are working on another PlayStation exclusive, and they're bringing back a big franchise, and it's a huge project they're doing. Rumors is that this is a Metal Gear game that they're working on. I don't believe that leak paper that got out there, but if this is Snake Eater, I will lose my mind, because that is my favorite game of all time. I will. I will throw my headset. I'll just walk away. I was like,
That's
you
it.
take
Done for the
care of the
night.
rest of the stream, Joel. I don't care. Um, that would be fantastic. We'll see. We'll see. I don't want to keep my hopes up, but we'll see. Joe, but I do have two big things, actually. Three. We're probably going to get PSM name changes.
Oh, if that happens, praise. Oh my gosh, I'd be so happy.
So we're probably going to get, like, you can change it once for free, and then for the next, you pay like a fee, like $10 or whatever, if you want to change it. I think Xbox does something similar to that. So, so I will think we'll see that finally. Devil May Cry 5, that's pretty much confirmed, because the director went out there and said, it's like, oh yeah, I'm working on Devil May Cry. I wish you guys could see it, but you guys gotta wait. I think this game's coming out this year, or late this year. So maybe like a Halloween game, like after maybe a November game. So we'll see about that. I can't wait to see what it is, because if it's going to be a full-blown sequel to DMC4, I absolutely love that game. So we'll love to see that happening. There's a big rumor. A lot of sources from Japan have been saying, hey, Persona Forever, and coming back with that stuff. But if you take Persona Forever and change 4 for the number forever, Persona 4 remake for PS4. I think that game could happen sooner than later, because one, the dungeons were procedurally generated. They were not handcrafted like they were on P5, so that's a lot easier to do. They already got the voice acting. They already have high resolution art from Persona 4 Arena. So I think, Joe, we're gonna get a remake of Persona 4, and I would also cry if that happens, because it's one of my favorite games of all time. It's a fantastic game, Joe. I would put the 100 hours again on it.
Oh man, this is one of those. This could be one of those E3s where Obed just keeps sobbing. And he's really happy. It's Christmas.
It's Christmas, yeah. And the other big thing that I have here, Joe, for PlayStation is the Resident Evil 2 remake. I don't think that game's going to be exclusive. I think that's going to come out on Xbox as well. But there's this. I think they've been working on this for about 3-4 years now. I think we'll see it based on rumors that came out last week, Joe. Capcom is using the same engine that they used for Resident Evil 7, but they're using a scaling solution on their engine, that allows them to render the game 4K 60 on PS4 Pro. That's interesting. We'll see. I don't think that's necessary. Like, and by 4K 60, I mean native 4K 60. We'll see. I don't believe it. I think 4K 30 is more attainable. But based on the rumors, this is going to be like a Resident Evil 4 style game, so an over-the-shoulder camera. There's definitely going to be some mechanics that need to be reworked from Resident Evil 2 to make them work. If they're going to go into doing a completely separate or different camera style compared to the original, fixed camera and tank controls from the original PS1 game. So I am excited about it. If it's an Resident Evil 4 style game, I mean, because Resident Evil 4, again, one of my favorite games of all time. I would love to play another game like that. Unfortunately, 5 and 6 did not live up to the hype. I haven't played 7 yet, so but haven't had anything spoiled, luckily. So I may grab it. Who knows?
Cool, man.
Yeah, but that's what I got for PlayStation, man. Do you foresee any price drops announced? Probably not, right?
I know VR had a price drop, so maybe they'll try and sell us a little more on that. Maybe bundle something with there too, but nothing more. I mean, it'd be great. I'm all for price drops as the consumer, but
Yeah, I don't know if you saw those days of PlayStation that they announced.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
so
yes, for like a week or 2 weeks, something like that.
yeah, it's 10 days, June 8th through the 18th,
Yep.
and it's $50 off of the PS4 Pro. So you get a Pro for $350. You get a special edition blue PS4 that looks really
That
nice.
was awesome.
Yeah, with 2 controllers for $299. And that's a pretty console, man. I mean, it's a shame it's not a Pro, but man, I can't complain.
It's nice.
Again, if you don't have a PlayStation, I am 100% happy with my standard PlayStation. So,
Absolutely.
um, and then they have a bunch of games for $20. God of War, Horizon. Joel, I don't know if you already grabbed God of War or Horizon, but this would be a great opportunity for you to grab them, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think that's one was to stack up on some stuff that I've held out of. So
Yeah.
this is a great opportunity for our listeners too. There's some games we've talked about. Go for it, guys.
Yeah, especially Horizon. They're doing the complete edition that has the Frozen Wilds. So that DLC is so good too, man. It's definitely worth it. So,
Nice.
PSA for if you guys are interested. But that is what I got, man. They're holding their cards close to their chest. Both Microsoft and PlayStation. I think Microsoft's been quiet, and I think they are planning something. I'm hoping that they bring something because that would spark Sony into being better, right? And at the same time, PlayStation, I think Sean Layden was trying to misdirect people with the we're gonna focus on 4 games. So I think PlayStation is gonna have another big conference. So Joel, I am really, really excited for all this E3 stuff. That's what I got. I hope that you guys enjoyed, and hopefully you guys can share our thoughts with us on this predictions. But Joel, if you don't have anything else, man, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up.
Yeah, that's right. It's been a long one. It's a lot of good stuff we covered, and there's plenty of stuff that we didn't even talk about. So make sure to stay tuned to our next episode because we got one more episode before the big one, man. So anyways, guys, thank you for taking time out of your day. Listen to us here on No Load Time. We want to make sure you stay connected with us through social media by giving us a follow at No Load Time. That's at No Load Time on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch. Also, if you would go ahead and make sure to say subscribe to us, that's how you can get notifications for when our latest episodes drop. You go ahead and subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And if you would be a subscriber on iTunes, if you could please go ahead and drop us a review, that would be greatly appreciated. We also want to make sure you can stay in contact with us. So if you could go ahead and send us an email with any questions, comments, or feedback to noloadtime@gmail.com. That's noloadtime@gmail.com. Guys, it is always a pleasure to be with you. We look forward to our next few episodes. There's so much more coming. So stay tuned and stay with us here on No Load Time.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.